Hey, what's going on, everybody? Zach here with Brandon Wound Pickups, and today I am very excited because we have a crazy guitar project that we're going to be starting today. If you can't tell, especially if you've been around the channel for a while, I have a favorite color. Anyways, you can imagine my excitement when my friend Trey, who is Vintage Frets on Instagram, reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I just bought an old Strat and you might like the color. It needs some work. Do you think you could work on it for me?" And then I'm like, yes, please. And then a few days ago, this arrived. That's rad. So this is a 1965 L Series Strat. Oh yeah, and it's foam green. Look, see? It's barely there, but it's there. So, supposedly, this is an original foam green 65 L Series Strat. That's bananas. That is such a rare color. I would say probably one of the rarest colors, other than maybe like shell pink or something like that. Especially on a Strat. You see it more on like Jags and Jazzmasters and stuff, but this is just nuts. So it has had some modifications though, which is unfortunate. I think somebody has like a mint example of one of these, and it's like crazy perfect color still. This one's had some mods. I've already started working on it a little bit also. So, quick run through. This pick guard and the pickups and all that is not original. I put this in temporarily. This is all my stuff. The original pick guard is on that reissue, mostly to keep it from shrinking any more than it already has, which is a lot. The guitar needs pickup work, obviously. That's kind of why it's here mostly. It needs some pickup work. The guitar has been absolutely hammered, as you can tell. So of course, Fender pickups rust and they go dead and so on and so forth. It also needs a little bit of wiring work. Definitely needs a setup because it doesn't play very well at the moment. It has shallow tuners on it, like every single modified guitar from the 70s and 80s has. Got to get rid of those. We got a whole laundry list of things to do. Very excited to work on this. We're going to put it on the bench here in a minute, get a little closer look about it, talk a little bit more about it. But I'm very excited. You can see a little bit more of the foam green in some places. This is what it would have looked like originally. Yeah. Why is it this color? Real quick before we get in there, it's got a clear coat over it, and over time the clear coat yellows, and it turns it, kind of looks more like between surf green and puke green right now, but it's really cool. So, let's get this thing on the bench, take a look, and we'll look at the original pickups and electronics also, because like I said, I've already got those out. All right, to the bench. I know the shirt was a little too much. I'm actually going to take it off right now because I bought it about 20 pounds ago, and it's very tight. All right, let's go. All right, let's take a look a little closer here. You can see that color. It's got a white undercoat, which I believe is actually correct for this from what I've been told. Really cool. So I will be honest here, I am not an expert on Fender custom colors. I have seen a decent amount and some rare ones like Fiesta Red and all that, but I'm not an expert. But it has been looked at by some people who do know custom colors, and they all seem to think it's pretty legitimate. So that's what I'm going off of there. But when it comes to everything else Strat, I'm good, electronics and all that. So like I said, this is a replacement just temporarily. Basically, I put it in there so I could play the guitar a little bit and see what all it needed kind of setup-wise. Kind of get an idea how it sounded. It's been refretted at some point, you can see, because it has big frets on it. In my opinion, that's a good thing, because I hate tiny frets. The fretboard has been planed, I'm guessing, because usually you would see some divots up in here if they would have left that alone, but that's not uncommon with a refret. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. It's a 65, so we have a transition logo. It is an L series though, which is nice. We'll get to that in a second. Nice ugly shallow tuners, those gotta go. Other than that, really cool vibey guitar. Just everywhere you look, you can see little remnants of that color, underneath the clear coat. So let's flip the thing around, take a look on the back. I did cover up his serial number just in case. Still grimy on the back. More foam green in places. Joe Perry. Just noticed that. Is that real? Probably not. Yeah. Up here, potentially, I think maybe a little bit of heat damage, actually. Because up in here, just the way the finish looks seems to, I don't know. It's kind of a tough call. That could be why the finish is really dark like this too, if it had some heat damage. Really cool grain on the neck. Ugly showers again. All right, so let's take a look at some parts here. Here are the original pickups, which we'll be looking at in more detail here in a little bit. They are very, very rusty. They're even corroded on the outside, which you don't see very often. They're gray bottom. They're dated 65. I think everything on this guitar is May of 65. The neck date, the pickups, and the pots, which is a really good sign. We'll come over here and look at the original pick guard real quick. Just got this sitting on a relic Strat, like I said, to keep it kind of from shrinking. Look at that color, man. It is roached. That is a problem. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I think these are replacement knobs and stuff. Yeah, really cool. The only problem with this guitar is the pickups didn't have covers on them. That's one of the bigger issues. So a cover doesn't even fit in this anymore because it was so, shrunken up. These guards, once you take them off or take something out of them, they really want to shrink fast. Like if I tried to put a cover right now in this, it would not fit. I've talked to my buddy Tony at Pick Guardian about maybe kind of rerouting that out a little bit so it will fit, but then the guard is so shrunken, I'm not sure what we're doing with that yet. Might go reproduction for that. We'll have to see. Over here, we have more parts. These are all the parts that came in for the guitar. We've got some single line Clusen tuners. That's good. Ditch the shallers. Might have to use a conversion bushing. We have original pickup covers. Original back plate. That's cool, I guess. I don't think I've ever ran a back plate on a Strat before. We have screws that I took out. We have an original switch because the switch in that has been replaced. And we have some original knobs, which are really cool. They kind of have a greenish sort of tint to the numbers. Really like that. So we're going to be installing all of this original stuff on here. The pickups, again, we're going to talk about more here in a minute. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to rewind all of them just to make it sort of reliable. But yeah, really cool guitar. So I'm the pickup guy. Let's start with the pickups. All right, like I said, we're going to go ahead and start with the pickups on these. I'd like to show you the wiring as it is now, but I really don't want to, like I said, I don't want to take that pick guard off to make it shrink any more than I have to. But we do have to change the switch in it, and I think the volume pot has also been changed, and then the rest of it is original. But here are the pickups. Somebody did have some tape around them, like I said, which is weird. Don't ever play a Fender Strat pickup without the cover. It's a bad idea. So here it is. This is the neck pickup. Look at that corrosion, man. It's crazy right there on the outside. And of course, the magnets are super rusty. Look at how beveled that is. See that? That's probably from playing it without the cover. Some of the 50 stuff was actually beveled on the flat work, from the factory before they wound it. But this is just from, playing without a cover. It is pretty much untouched, though. Like I said, they had tape around it, but that's it. I mean, these leads have never been out. I don't think the solder joints had ever been touched before. Look at the back here. Got our date. Got that kind of grayish green flat work. This pickup actually made some noise, which I'm very, 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 very shocked at, because it looks bad. Like, I'm talking about as bad as I've ever seen an old Strat pickup, and I've had a lot of them come through here. Yeah, reads nothing. And I've already reheated all these solder joints. That didn't do anything. Nothing. Nothing. So, here's the dilemma. Theoretically, if I take off enough wire and unwind past that corrosion, I might be able to get this to work, I should say. The magnets are very rusty, though. I can already see it right kind of on the sides of them. They're probably rusty inside. Even if I can get this to read something, I think I'm still going to rewind it. And I'll tell you why. Because I've seen this before. Look at the middle pickup. It's even worse. See all that? I had a set of 66 Strat pickups in, actually not too terribly long ago. They looked very similar to this, not quite as bad. And I did that because I asked the guy, I'm like, do you want me to try to get them working and then see how long it goes? And I did. It was very low output by the time I got past the corrosion. And then guess what? About a month or two later, camera right back and I had to rewind it anyways. And that's happened on numerous occasions too. So I think I am going to take wire off just to see what happens, see if I can get a reading, for restoration purposes, so I can figure out kind of how much wire is on them. But to make the guitar reliable, I'm going to say they probably need rewound. The bridge is in the best condition. This will be one I will probably try to save. It's not as bad. These are machine wound pickups also, at least as far as I can tell. Either that or whoever was hand winding did a really phenomenal job because they all look pretty much identical. And it is 65, so Fender should have been machine winding, at least mostly by that point. That's probably what I'll do also. So we're going to start with, I guess we'll start with the neck pickup. And I'm going to take some winds off of this, and I'm going to see what happens. I'll do a tiny bit on camera here. So we're going to take our finish wire, and we're going to break it. Please don't do this at home. We'll see how brittle it is. It's actually already coming off not too bad. Sometimes I'll put these pickups in the wax before I do this to kind of soften everything up a little, but this one's not too terribly bad. I think... Oh, that's tape residue. I was going to say maybe it was lacquer potted, but I think that's that residue from that tape. Oh, there is some not good stuff coming off of this. That's going to give me a disease of some kind. Okay, it already broke. Brittle wire. Not a good sign. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Nope, this is going to be a fight. Alright, got to turn the camera off. I'm going to mess with these a little bit. I'll come back to you here in a second. Okay, so here's a pickup update. I took a little bit of wire off of all of them except for the bridge. I haven't messed with that yet since it's the cleanest one. I started taking some winds off of the neck, and the wire is very brittle. I think you saw that. The wire broke. I can't find it. I'm going to have to put this in the wax to soften it up to try to take some more off. The middle pickup, I took some off, and it was just breaking. So I made the executive decision. I know I'm rewinding the middle pickup, so I'm just going to cut the wire off. And yeah, this pickup had 0% chance of ever working properly with that original wire. It's all the way down through. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen it quite that bad before. It's a miracle that this made any sound at all. And I think it did make a tiny little bit of noise. If we look inside, same situation, rust. Actually, really honestly, not as bad as I thought it was going to be inside. The middle magnets don't look super terrible. I mean, they all have rust on them, but I've seen a lot worse than that. Yeah, this one needs rewound, unfortunately. The other two, the neck, the neck, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a rewind too, just because the surface rust or the surface corrosion isn't as bad, but the rust on the magnets is worse. So this one could have a deeper, internal problem. Like I said, the one with the most promise is going to be the bridge, as it doesn't have any sort of external corrosion, at least that I can see. But again, the magnets are so rusty and it doesn't read anything. I don't see any dents in the coil. Well, maybe a little one. I'm thinking best case scenario, I'm going to talk to Trey about this, see what he wants to do. Personally, if this was my guitar, I would rewind all of these. Because even, like I said, if I got both of these pickups working, how long? Does it help the value? Yes. But the guitar's already been modified anyways, actually quite extensively, which we'll probably show you in the next episode. It's kind of a disaster underneath the pick guard, but that's a story for another day. Yeah, I would rewind them all. That's just my personal opinion. That's probably what I'm going to advise him to do. And until I make that call, I think I'm going to call it quits for today. So that'll be the end of part one. Not a whole lot going on in this episode, just kind of checking the guitar out, giving an overlook of the project and what we're going to do. I'm very excited to see this project through. and get all of its original parts back on and get it working with all the original stuff. I love foam green. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's nice not to have that shirt on, that was a little tight. So, there you guys have it. That's the end of part 1. Part 2 will be definitely finishing the pickups for sure. And I'm just waiting on the volume pot still. We found an old Stackpole 304 code pot with a date code very close to those other pots. That's a nice Corvette. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna put that in. We're gonna put that original switch in, and hopefully in the next video we will have all of the wiring wrapped up, and hopefully maybe even some of the hardware and plastic stuff too. It may be a 2-part series. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see. But until then, I guess take it easy, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.